Chair of the Public Service Committee. I am joined by at-large Councillor Sue Shalafou-Zephyr, the clerk, and the third member, at-large Councillor Brandon Robbins. Tonight we are discussing petition 27-26, Massachusetts Electric Company doing business as National Grid and Verizon New England, Inc. request permission to locate poles, wires, and fixtures, including the necessary sustaining and protecting fixtures, along and across the following public way. Pleasant Street, National Grid to install one jointly owned pole on Pleasant Street, beginning at a point approximately 10 feet east of the center line of the intersection of Lisa Drive, and continuing approximately 10 feet in an easterly direction. National Grid is installing a push brace on pole 70 in order to remove an existing tree guide. Location approximately is shown on plan attached. Wherefore it prays that after due notice and hearing as provided by law, it be granted a location for and permission to erect and maintain poles and wires, together with such sustaining and protecting fixtures as it may find necessary, said poles to be erected substantially in accordance with plan filed herewith marked Pleasant Street, Leominster, Massachusetts, number 311-99528, October 23rd, 2025. Also, for permission to lay and maintain underground laterals, cables, and wires in the above or intersecting public ways for the purpose of making connections with such poles and buildings as each of said petitioners may desire for districting purposes. This is a petition that's been going on for quite some time. National Grid had mentioned that they weren't going to have any information as of today, but I had reached out to them and gotten the two names of the two constituents from Ward 4 who they were having difficulty reaching. I've since learned from the Ward 4 councillor that he has not been able to reach either constituent either. Because this has been going on so long, but because we're so invested, at this point I'm thinking of tabling this petition for study. Oh, go ahead.
I was just thinking, just give it leave to withdraw without, I would give it leave to withdraw without prejudice, and then when they get their act together and they talk to the constituents, then they can just refile it basically, rather than putting it on the table and then worrying about taking it off the table, things like that. I mean, that would be a suggestion.
Sure.
So,
Councillor Robbins?
I'm fine with either approach, honestly.
Anything from the Ward 4 councillor? They are your constituents. Do you have any anything you would like to add at this point?
Well, I'd probably, at this juncture, I'd probably favor tabling it, but I'm not hard bent on that. I could probably go either way as well, but if you ask me what I'd prefer to table it.
Okay, thank you so much for your input. I'm just gonna take a second to process that. Like I said, I think at this point it really is, for those of you listening at home, this has been going on for quite a while, but obviously to go back to the drawing board would mean going back through this process all over again. On the flip side of things, if National Grid comes back with something that's so very different than what they've presented, they would have to present a new petition anyway.
Yep.
I'll just say,
Sure.
To the Ward 4 councillor's point, if his preference is to table it, like I said, I could go either way. If we put it on the table and then it sits there for another month, we could just give it leave to withdraw at that point. If the goal is to give them a little bit more time, but not have it keep re-showing up on the agenda and you having to read it every meeting.
It sounds to me like something. Right. It sounds to me like it's something that has to happen sooner or later.
Yes.
And if we give it leave to withdraw, it's going to take it longer to tee it up to take action. If we put it on the table, it'll be quicker to act. Take it off the table and act on it. We can literally do that within one meeting. If it's leave to withdraw, it's going to take at least 2 meetings. So it's just quicker to
Sure.
table it.
Okay, at this point, I think that, I think I am going to recommend, at this juncture anyway, just, tabling this petition, just because the Ward 4 counselor does happen to be here, and they are his constituents that are going to be impacted. And then, you know, at least, as was said, it won't be something that we have to read and address, you know, every meeting and every subcommittee meeting without any updates, and then we can make a decision at a later point to decide whether or not to give them leave to withdraw. So at this point, Madam Chair, I think when we have the regular meeting, that will be, I'm sorry, just the at-large council?
No, I'm good.
Okay. So at this point, Madam Chair, I think when we get to the regular meeting, we will have a majority recommendation to just table this petition for now.
Okay, you have a majority, everybody voted?
Yes.
We have not voted, I mean.
Oh, I apologize,
That's okay.
So,
Your recommendation is?
oh yes, I'm sorry, so yeah, right, so my recommendation would be to table petition 27-26.
I agree.
Thank
I
you.
agree.
Motion.
Yeah.
Great, thank you both very much. So, yes, Madam Chair, at this point, we have a majority vote for tabling petition 27-26. Is there anything anyone else would like to add regarding this petition before we close the public hearing?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second? Were you still thinking word, Counselor, or?
No, it's your
Oh, okay.
committee.
I
It's
just
your
wanted to make
committee.
sure, okay. All right. Subcommittee meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
still compacted. This
Huh?
five, still compacted.
6:54 on my clock, yeah. Good one.
Mine's got 5.
My watch says 5, but this is 6:54 and clock is
Oh.
on.
Yeah,
I'm on Apple time.
Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. There's plenty of room in between us, doesn't it? You don't have to.
I put it here in case it Paul gives me a hard time.
Good evening. We're now going to hold a public forum. Public forum is an opportunity for any member of the audience to speak on any matter specifically listed on the council agenda. Speakers will be asked to come to the microphone, state their formal name and address, along with identifying the specific item they wish to address. Each speaker is respectfully asked to keep their comments within a 2-minute time frame. The council will not be responding or answering any questions. However, at the discretion of the council president, clarification may be given. The first person I have on the list is Nastasia Stickler. Now, we're having a little bit of microphone difficulty, so that should suffice. I think you
Sure,
have to use
I'm a former theater kid.
use the
I can
handheld
project.
one. You're good.
Great, thank you so much. Good evening, city councilors. It's great to be here to speak. I'd like to speak on 2 agenda items, if I may. So my name is Nastasia Stickler. I'm at 114 Blossom Street in Ward 5. And the first agenda item I'd like to speak on is in support of 3726. And that's the petition to establish a human rights commission. And I was here several years ago also speaking my support for another petition that the mayor had put in. Myself and several other community members had done a lot of work, a lot of outreach in support of that, and I'm just really excited that it's back on the agenda because I think that not only is this a really important opportunity for Leominster to set a structure of community openness and accountability, but I really want to emphasize that we have a proactive opportunity through a Human Rights Commission to create programming, education, outreach, to really establish positive and inclusive relationships across the city. So I'm really excited. My group and I did a lot of research. We reached out to other cities and towns that had human rights commissions. They all had really positive experiences. We learned a lot. And so I really want to emphasize that I think this is a really important development for Leominster, and that we have, just a really great opportunity to develop something really positive in our community, build on a lot of the positive community programming that we already have, and really establish a structure. So I'm really hopeful that the committee will take this up and continue to move it forward. The second agenda item that I'd like to speak to is 3026. Establishing a process for researching municipal aggregation for Leominster. This is this the right petition that I'm talking about? Yes, aggregate the electricity roll, yes. This is another petition that I'd like to speak in favor of. I am a climate justice, that's what I do for my work. I work a lot with New England ISO, so our grid operators, so I've gotten an inside look at, a lot of the really complex workings of our electricity grid, both the wholesale market, the forward capacity market, the distribution, the daily market. And we as individuals have little to no control, really, over how we get our electricity. A lot of the third-party folks that people sometimes go to try and save money, it is often really hard to tell whether those are predatory or not. And a city has so much more power to negotiate on behalf of its residents. And it's really simple for people to opt out if they don't want to be part of it. But the data that I looked at preliminarily, I didn't see one data point where people lost money in municipal aggregation. I only saw people saving money on their electricity when they went with municipal aggregation. This is worked out in cities and towns across Massachusetts. I think it really deserves a good look at how it could work out for Leominster. And I know that my family would be really excited to participate in it if it goes through. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I will come back to the audience if there's anyone else that wishes to speak, but we're approaching 7 o'clock, so we're gonna wait a half a second so we can open the meeting and then recess. Sometimes it takes a long time for a minute. Please rise and salute the flag with us. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we are now going to do a roll call of the councilors in attendance. Councilor Cormier.
Present.
Councilor Pauline Cormier. Present. Councilor Isinger.
Present.
Councilor Noseworthy.
Present.
Councilor Romero.
Present.
Councilor Shalfo Zephyr.
Present.
Councilor Robbins.
Present.
And Councilor Bedanza.
Present.
And I will be recorded as present. All councilors in attendance. And at this point, I'm just gonna go right to the, look for a motion to recess. Councilor Cormier, seconded by Councilor Isinger. All those in favor? Councilors down in recess. Mr. O'Rourke.
Thank you, Madam President. John O'Rourke, Good Energy is the company name. My address is 155 Matthews Road in Conway, Massachusetts. I have to say that I don't have much to say after this young lady that was before us. She did a great job on talking about 30-26, the municipal aggregation petition. I saw the Legal Affairs and Ways and Means Committee meeting the other night, and I thought that Councilor Osing did an outstanding job with his presentation on aggregation. A couple of things I'd like to clear up that I heard at that meeting. First, the language of the partition seemed to be in question. The language in the petition is essentially the same language that's been used for about the last 10 years. It's in conformity with the guidelines of the Department of Public Utilities. It's been used almost exclusively for city councils, town councils, and town meetings for smaller towns. So that's kind of set in stone, so there's no reason to change the language in that. The second item that I thought was a little confusing, opt-in versus opt-out. There is no such thing as an opt-in aggregation plan. Essentially, every state that has tried to do an opt-in has failed. Most states that tried opt-in originally changed to an opt-out. Essentially, two examples, Rhode Island and New Hampshire started out as opt-in plans, opt-in laws, and basically nothing happened in either of those states until they changed their law to model after the Massachusetts law. Basically, every successful plan, every successful law in the country is based on the Massachusetts law, because the Massachusetts law was the first. So essentially, that's the way that goes. In your packet that I gave you, there's a very good business case for that. The simple answer, of course, is because the law is an opt-out, but essentially everything flows from that. There was another confusing bit of information that I saw about a supposed contract negotiated for municipal aggregation. I don't know where that confusion or misinformation comes from, but there was never a contract that was negotiated for municipal aggregation. We haven't even started the process yet. Just some highlights of our interaction with the city. March 14th of 2022, I gave Jim Piermarini some information on aggregation, because he had requested it as the lead for Mayor Mazzarella to collect some information. Later that year, the mayor put together a selection committee, himself, Jen Reddington, Greg Chapdelaine, and James Piermarini, to interview and select an aggregation consultant. He contacted me December 6th of 2022 to inform me that Good Energy had been chosen by that committee. So essentially, we've been chosen as your aggregation consultant. Essentially, some of the items in the packet. Basically, there was a statement by Lieutenant Governor Driscoll at the Mass Municipal Association conference that basically she said, we are saving ratepayers hundreds of millions of dollars through municipal aggregation. Our aggregations in Massachusetts since 2016 have saved ratepayers in Massachusetts $500 million. So we've been very successful at that. Essentially, there was a news release, a press release by the Department of Public Utilities on January 20th, just before the MMA conference. And that basically said, the headline of that was, DPU-approved plans are saving electricity customers money. So essentially, you have the governor, the lieutenant governor, DPU, all in favor of municipal aggregation. We have tried to get the petition through the city council for the last 3 years without much success. Essentially, right now there are 245 municipalities in Massachusetts that have aggregation plans. There are only 56 that don't. The reason for that is because you have 50 communities that are served by municipal light plants. So there are only 56 communities left that don't have aggregation plans. Many of those, the majority of those, are in western Massachusetts and the western 4 counties. They're very small municipalities, and essentially, as consultants, we have pretty high legal fees to put a plan through the DPU, and it's financially prohibited for any of the consultants to go after those smaller towns. So essentially, practically speaking, there are only 8 or 10 municipalities left in the Commonwealth that don't have a plan that make it practical for consultants to pursue. That's basically all I have. There's information in your packet that I gave you. I understand we're under some time restraints, so I'll respect your time. I won't go any further. Thank you so much for having us tonight.
Thank you, Mr. O'Rourke.
Thank you.
Welcome, Mayor Di Natale.
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to mention also, obviously, I'm very, very pleased. Thank you all for allowing me to come and speak. I'm speaking as an employee of Good Energy, but as some of you may remember, I was the mayor of the city of Fitchburg, and aggregation was incorporated by my administration in 2019. Back then, the DPU process for approval was beyond extensive. It took 2.5 years before we actually were approved. That's all changed today. 120 days. If no action's taken by DPU, it automatically becomes a plan. So my intent at the time, and I will grant you this, it's a different relationship in Fitchburg with our utility than it is here in Leominster. And you can postulate what that means. But I believe that my role as the mayor was to somehow, my goal and my pledge was to improve the lives of the citizens and constituents in my city. Aggregation, I believed, was one step toward meeting that pledge. Rate relief is what we were seeking, some form of rate relief. There's, so from 2019, we've been under aggregation for about 3 years. And during that time frame, and this is what I hope you'll remember and keep in mind, City of Fitchburg, their ratepayers have saved close to $7 million in the difference with having aggregation as opposed to not having it. I just believe that it's a win for all of us. As my colleague John mentioned, there are very few communities in the Commonwealth that aren't participating in aggregation, and there's a reason for that. It works. Again, nothing's guaranteed. But the track record for most of the aggregation that we've participated in, and we're, better or worse, we're one of the largest in the country. It's been beyond successful. And we're hoping that members of the council will see the benefits of the aggregation and go ahead and approve that for the citizens of Leominster. I might add, this is my hometown. I grew up about a quarter mile from here on Lincoln Terrace. So it's a thrill for me to be here and speak before you folks. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. That's all that we have signed up. Is there anyone else that wishes to address the council?
Apologies for not signing up. My name is Brooke Gilmore. I'm in Ward 5, 54 Green Street. Thank you, City Council, for allowing us this public comment this evening. I understand we're over time, so I will be brief. But I'm here in support of Agenda Item 3726, the petition to establish a Human Rights Commission in Leominster. Along with Nastasia, I was part of the group several years ago who did a lot of the groundwork and research and community outreach that builds the framework for the petition that's been reintroduced here today. And I'm so excited that after so many years that it is back here for your consideration, because it's something that has remained incredibly important to me. I thought we had a great opportunity in 2020 to make this commitment to our community, and in 2026 it feels even more urgent and pressing that we make this investment in our people and our neighbors and our kids, and kind of show up as the city that we are supposed to be and that I believe that we are. I'm not a lifelong Leominsterite. I moved here just 10 years ago, but I have 2 kids in the schools and we just love it here so much. We love to be out in the community, all the city events, the parks, the recreation activities. We're deeply embedded here, and I see a community that is really unique in the state. We travel around the state for a lot of baseball games elsewhere, and when you're in those parks and in those other towns, like, it just doesn't look like Leominster. Like, people aren't embracing common spaces and coming together in the way that I see here. And so I think, given that this particular climate, we have a great opportunity to create and embed this inclusive and welcoming tone in support of our community and neighbors. And I am thrilled that you are reconsidering this petition. So thank you. I wasn't here to speak on this, but item 3026, municipal aggregation, I just heard these amazing arguments. And so since I'm here, I will register my support. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience that wishes to address the council? Again, and we'll ask, is there anyone else that wishes to address the council?
Is that the DER? Is that the DER?
Okay, we're in recess. If the council has no objection, I invited Princess Sasu from Leominster High School, who I had the privilege Saturday morning of going to the DAR distribution of awards for the essay contest for good citizenship. And out of all the high schools that were there, Princess Sasu was the top winner of the award. So I asked her to come down a little bit late, and two DAR members were here to listen to you, so I just want you to know that they were here to support you. So I will allow you to speak at this point and read your essay if you would. We have a microphone at the podium, and if you, don't be nervous, just please go right ahead. Just introduce yourself and tell us how you got to the award and what your thought was or what the criteria was a little bit, and read the essay for us.
Hi everyone.
There's a button. You press the button.
Hi everyone. I'm Princess Sassy. Sorry for coming a bit late. So I was selected. I was the only senior selected out of 418 to apply for the DAR Good Citizens Award, and I had to write an essay on American heritage and how democracy was achieved by the Patriots, and that's what I discussed in my essay that got me to win the scholarship. Thank you so much for hearing me and read this essay, and thank you so much, Ms. Frida, for inviting me to read my essay. Okay, so the question was our American heritage and our responsibility for preserving it. Our nation will celebrate the 250th birthday of the United States of America on July 4th, 2026. Describe how the characteristics of a good citizen help to renew and strengthen the democracy achieved by the patriots of the American Revolution. How a good citizen is portrayed is relatively subjective, meaning that some citizens can be better than others. However, a good citizen has recognizable traits that strengthen the unity and community of a nation. Good citizens promote togetherness by creating, organizing, and/or volunteering in projects and events that are community-based. They look to favor the people while respecting their individual ideas. A good citizen is someone whose actions reflect the need to help their community while also balancing their own needs. They listen, empathize, and try to understand others' point of views, helping to strengthen humans as individuals as well as a community. The characteristics and qualities of a good citizen will help strengthen the democracy achieved by the patriots of the American Revolution. This is because the patriots of the American Revolution fought for the future of their people. They fought for all types of Americans to be seen and heard by the people who saw and understood their struggles. This is what a good citizen does. They look beyond their world and empathize with others to find a solution. Good citizens look beyond their own pursuit and try their best to ensure happiness is pursued by all through fair and equal opportunities. The patriots fought for that pursuit. They fought for their future. Good citizens fight for futures they may or may not be able to see, because as the patriots fought for a war they could have died in, good citizens ensure to promote community so it is maintained generationally. These characteristics help renew and strengthen democracy in the United States of America because they show people what a good citizen is supposed to be. They remind people who feel alone and forgotten that they may have someone that will look out for them until they're ready to get back up on their feet. Good citizens strengthen and renew democracy because they encourage people to speak up for what they believe. They unite people by showing them that they are not being left unheard. This is exemplified through speaking to the press, writing letters, protesting, and freely conversing. Good citizens remind people that they are seen and valued. They do this by listening to their pains and joys, and pushing citizens to be who they are. Overall, good citizens help renew and strengthen democracy through their efforts to promote unity. Through unity, democracy is achieved by reminding citizens that their voices can be heard through protests, the press, voting, and much more. Unity promoted by democracy reminds people that they are not fighting their battles alone, but together they can fight for a better America as the Patriots did.
Thank you very much, and thank you for taking the time to come in tonight and share that with the rest of the council.
Thank you.
Thank you, members of the council, for allowing that. I think it was important. Before we go on, I want to thank Diane Reardon, who is our former assistant clerk, retired, but we talked her into coming back to be an interim city assistant clerk while we're in the process of looking for a new assistant clerk. So our clerk was not available this evening, so she graciously offered to sit in for us. I want to thank her for that. Now I will move on to, we'll go back into session, the approval of records. Vice Chair.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm going to request further time on the minutes that were listed, the February 9th minutes. There was just a couple of things we need to clean up, so I'll have those, I'll get those done and have them on the next agenda. Thank you.
Oh, okay, thank you. All right, we'll move on to communications from the mayor. Madam Assistant Clerk.
C-53, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requests that an appropriation of $10,000 be made to the landfill capping account, the same to be transferred from the excess and deficiency account.
C-53 is referred to the Chair of Finance.
Thank you, Madam President. First time on the calendar. Regular course, please.
C-53 has been given regular course.
38-26, Massachusetts Electric Company doing business as National Grid and Verizon New England Incorporated request permission to locate poles, wires, and fixtures, including the necessary sustaining and protecting fixtures, along and across the following public way. Marguerite Ave, National Grid to install one JO pole on Marguerite Ave, beginning at a point approximately 115 feet south of the center line of the intersection of Marguerite Ave and Lincoln Terrace. Install one mid-span pole P20-50 for new capacitor bank. Location approximately as shown on a plan. Wherefore, it prays that after due notice and hearing, as provided by law, it will be granted a location for and permission to erect and maintain poles and wires, together with such sustaining and protecting fixtures as it may find necessary, said poles to be erected substantially in accordance with the plan filed herewith, marked Marguerite Ave, Leominster, Massachusetts. Number 305-27234, January 19th, 2026. Also, for permission to lay and maintain underground laterals, cables, and wires in the above or intersecting public ways for the purpose of making connections with such poles and buildings as each of said petitioners may desire for distributing purposes.
The position 38-26 is referred to the Chair of Public Service.
Thank you, Madam President. Regular course with referrals to DPW, the Leominster Police Department, and we'll need a public hearing.
We will
Madam Clerk,
schedule.
I'll be abstaining from this. It involves my employer.
Noted that Councilor Guamier is abstaining. We will have a hearing on March 23rd at 6:15.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, we need to vote on that hearing date. All those in favor signify by the usual manner. Those opposed? Hearing date has been approved. 39-26.
Massachusetts Electric Company, doing business as National Grid, requests permission to locate poles, wires, and fixtures, including the necessary sustaining and protecting fixtures, along and across the following public way. Marguerite Ave, Massachusetts Electric Company doing business as National Grid, to install one SO pole on Marguerite Ave, beginning at a point approximately 197 feet west of the center line of the intersection of Marguerite Ave and Lancaster Street. Install one mid-span pole P259 for future solar customer at 259 Lancaster Street. Location approximate. Wherefore it prays that after due notice and hearing, as provided by law, it be granted a location for and permission to erect and maintain poles and wires, together with such sustaining and protecting fixtures as it may find necessary, said poles to be erected substantially in accordance with the plan filed herewith marked Marguerite Ave, Leominster, Massachusetts. Plan number 305-27234, January 19, 2026. Also for permission to lay and maintain underground laterals, cables, and wires in the above or intersecting public ways for the purpose of making connections with such poles and buildings as each of said petitioners may desire for distributing purposes.
Okay, 39-26 is referred to the Chair of Public Service.
Thank you, Madam President. Also, regular course with referrals to DPW and the Leominster Police Department, and we'll need a public hearing for this one as well.
And we will schedule a public hearing for March 23rd at 6:20.
Thank
All
you, Madam
those in
President.
favor of the hearing, signify in the usual manner. Those opposed? Hearing is set for regular course with a hearing at 6:20 on March 23rd.
4026, Pluto Cannabis Company Outlet. Pluto Cannabis seeks a special permit from the Leominster City Council to assume operational control of the existing operational adult use marijuana establishment at 130 Pioneer Drive, currently operated by Revolutionary Clinics, in accordance with the City of Leominster zoning ordinance, Chapter 22, Article 18, marijuana facilities, Section 22-105.
Okay, 40-26 is referred to the Chair of Legal Affairs.
Thank you, Madam President. First time on the agenda, regular course, please, with a referral to the Planning Board, to the, go to the ZBA as well?
No.
Okay. Planning Board, obviously, I would like the input from the police and fire to make sure that everything there is still up to standards. Madam President, I'm also going to suggest, and I'd like some input from Luke Bolak. I think he is a fantastic resource for us with dealing with our last issue with the marijuana. So I think he'd be a great resource to reach out to him and get his opinion. I believe that is all for the referrals.
KP Law.
KP Law, I'm sorry, yes.
And we'll be having a public hearing as well, so
Yeah.
that will, we will schedule that on March 23rd at 6:30.
That's fine.
Okay. 40-26 has been recommended for regular course with referrals to the Planning Board, Police and Fire, Luke Bolak, our code enforcement, and KP Law. All those in favor of 323 hearing signify in the usual manner. Those opposed?
And 4126, Ginny's Helping Hand Incorporated requests to renew license to deal secondhand articles at 52 Mechanic Street, Leominster, Mass.
41-26 is referred to the Chair of Ways and Means.
First time on the calendar, Madam President, regular course.
41-26 has been given regular course. All right, now it's before the council. Mr. Chairman, are you ready to report?
I am, thank you, Madam President. We did not, once again, receive a formal updated financial report. However, I do note that all of the pending communications from the mayor involving money are all coming out of excess and deficiency. So I do have it, at least a stabilization account report. We began the fiscal year with a balance in stabilization of $24,323,829, added interest of $298,525, for a resulting balance of $24,622,354. We appropriated $2,991,902 from the stabilization account during the course of the fiscal year. We have pending this evening a transfer in of $3 million. The resulting balance before that transfer, before we vote on that tonight, is $21,630,452. If we vote affirmatively on the transfer in, the resulting balance will be $24,630,452, which is just a few $100s more than we started with on July 1st of this year. That's the financial report.
Thank you very much. Okay, C-46.
C-46, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requests the appropriation of $10,000 to the building expense account, with the same to be transferred from the excess and deficiency. I will say at the outset, we did have a subcommittee meeting on finance on March 4th, and we took up all of the various communications from the mayor, including this one. On this particular one, the mayor is seeking a transfer from excess and deficiency of $10,000. The original appropriation to this budget item was $338,700. As of my inquiry of the comptroller, $81,000 had been expended, leaving a positive balance of $257,300. Were questions concerning the necessity of adding $10,000 to this account, given the fact that it has a pretty healthy balance currently. My committee voted 2-0, one committee member withholding her vote, to grant C-46. My position was that even if it's overfunded and at the end of the year there's a positive balance, that'll go out, it'll just go back into excess and deficiency anyway, so there's really no particular difficulty, I think, ultimately with it. So in any event, the recommendation was 2-0 to grant C-46.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Do we have any questions or comments from anyone for the chair? Okay, all those in favor of C-46, please indicate in the usual manner. Those opposed? Okay, vote is 8-1. And just for the public's information, we use excess and deficiency, and a lot of the times we use free cash, just so people know it's the same thing. So we,
Good point.
yeah.
I think we need an order on C-46.
Yes, right, yeah, I'm getting it out.
I'm sorry about that.
Does the chairman have an order?
I do. Order that sum of $10,000 be transferred to the building expense account, same amount to be transferred from excess and deficiency. Move for the adoption of the order.
Okay, you've heard the chairman's report. Any questions or comments? If not, this will be a roll call vote, beginning with Councilor Cormier.
Yay.
Councilor Pauline Cormier.
Yay.
Councilor Anger.
Yay.
Councilor Noseworthy.
Yay.
Councilor Romero.
Yay.
Councilor Shalfo Zephyr.
Nay.
Councilor Robin.
Yay.
Councilor Bedanza.
Yay.
And that will be recorded as yay. Vote is 8-1. The order is adopted. C-47.
C-47, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requests the appropriation of $500 to be used for the distribution of a scholarship to a disabled high school student. The mayor sent a letter along to us. Apparently, the Disability Commission voted and approved this scholarship to be funded from their disability fines account. It was the position of the Finance Subcommittee unanimously, 3-0, to grant C-47.
Okay, you heard the chairman's recommendation. Any questions or comments? If not, all those in favor of granting C-47 signify in the usual manner. Those opposed? Mr. Chairman, have an order.
Yes, order the sum of $500 be appropriated to the scholarship, the Disability Commission for a scholarship. Same amount to be transferred from the disability fines account. Move for the adoption of the order.
Okay, you've heard the chairman's recommendation. Any other questions or comments? If not, this will be a roll call vote. Councilor Cormier?
Yay.
Councilor Pauline Cormier?
Yay.
Councilor Iden?
Yay.
Councilor Noseworthy?
Yay.
Councilor Romero?
Yay.
Councilor Shalfo Zephyr?
Yay.
Councilor Robin?
Yay.
Councilor Bonanza?
Yay.
That will be recorded as yay. 9-0, the order has been adopted. C-48.
C-48, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requests an appropriation of $3 million to be transferred from the stabilization account from excess and deficiency. As I indicated during the financial report, it is the practice of the city to use the free cash or excess and deficiency account to borrow from stabilization and restore it with excess and deficiency for capital items. It was the committee's vote by unanimous 3-0 to grant C-48. As I indicated during the discussion, the amount we borrowed from stabilization was $2,991,000, and I'll give you the exact number.
800 something?
$2,991,000, close, $902. So, as I indicated, unanimous recommendation of the Finance Subcommittee to grant C-48.
You've heard the chairman's recommendation. Any questions or comments? If not, all those in favor signify in the usual manner. Those opposed? C-48 is adopted by a vote of 9-0. The chairman have an order.
Yes, ordered the sum of $3 million be appropriated to the stabilization account, same to be transferred from the excess and deficiency account. Move for the adoption of the order.
Okay, per the chairman's recommendation, any questions or comments? If not, Councilor Cormier?
Yay.
Councilor Pauline Cormier?
Yay.
Councilor Iden?
Yay.
Councilor Noseworthy?
Yay.
Councilor Romero?
Yay.
Councilor Shalfo Zephyr?
Yay.
Councilor Robin?
Yay.
Councilor Bonanza?
Yay.
And it will be recorded as yay. The order is adopted by a vote of 9-0. C-49.
C-49, DJ Mazzarella, Mayor, requests an appropriation of $3,812.50 to the parking enforcement expense account. Same amount to be transferred from excess and deficiency. We received a letter from the mayor indicating that inadvertently this money was supposed to be transferred to the Disability for Fines account of the Disability Commission. It was closed to free cash, so we're simply restoring it from free cash back to the Disability Commission. Once again, the Finance Subcommittee met and recommended unanimously 3-0 to grant C-49.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You've heard the chairman's recommendation. Any questions or comments? If not, all those in favor signify in the usual manner. Those opposed? C-49 is got by a vote of 9-0. Mr. Chairman, have an order.
Yes, Madam President, ordered that the sum of $3,812.50 be appropriated to the Parking Enforcement Expense Account, Disability Commission, same to be transferred from the Excess and Deficiency Account. Move for the adoption of the order.
Heard the recommendation. Any questions or comments? If not, a roll call vote. Councilor Cormier?
Yay.
Councilor Pauline Cormier?
Yay.
Councilor Iden?
Yay.
Councilor Noseworthy?
Yay.
Councilor Romero?
Yay.
Councilor Shalfo Zephyr?
Yay.
Councilor Robin?
Yay.
Councilor Bonanza?
Yay.
That will be recorded as yay. By a vote of 9-0, the order is adopted. Moving on to C-50.
C-50, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requests that the amount of $20,000 be made to the Bulletproof Vest Fund, the same amount to be transferred from excess and deficiency. We received a letter from the Chief of Police indicating that the bulletproof vests that are in the service right now are nearing the end of their service life, and to ensure safety of our officers in compliance with the law, they need to be replaced. The Finance Subcommittee also met on this March 4th and voted unanimously to recommend the grant of C-50.
Okay, you've heard the chairman's recommendation. Any questions or comments? If not, all those in favor of granting C-50 signify in the usual manner. Those opposed? Okay, the C-50 was approved, 9-0. Does the chairman have an order?
Yes, Madam President, order that the sum of $20,000 be transferred to the Bulletproof Vest Fund, same amount to be transferred from the excess and deficiency account. Move for the adoption of the order.
Okay, you've heard the chairman's recommendation. Any questions or comments? If not, this will be a roll call vote. Councilor Cormier?
Yay.
Councilor Pauline Cormier?
Yay.
Councilor Iden?
Yay.
Councilor Noseworthy?
Yay.
Councilor Romero?
Yay.
Councilor Shalhoub Zephyr?
Yay.
Councilor Robin?
Yay.
Councilor Bonanza?
Yay.
And that will be recorded as yay. C-50 is, order is adopted by a vote of 9-0. C-51.
C-51, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, request an appropriation of $50,000 to the city solicitor expense account, with the same amount to be transferred from excess and deficiency. This item was budgeted at the beginning of the fiscal year at $190,000. As of my discussion with the comptroller approximately a week ago, $154,000 of that amount had been expended. This is what they anticipate will be necessary to get us to the end of the fiscal year. Again, the Finance Subcommittee met on March 4th and voted to recommend unanimously 3-0 to grant C-51 to the full council.
Okay, you've heard the chairman's recommendation. Any questions or comments? If not, all those in favor of granting C-51 signify in the usual manner. Those opposed? 9-1, 4. Does the chairman have an order?
Order the sum of $50,000 be appropriated to the city solicitor expense account, same amount to be transferred from excess and deficiency. Move for the adoption of the order.
Okay, heard the recommendation. Any questions or comments? If not, roll call. Councilor Cormier?
Yay.
Councilor Pauline Cormier?
Yay.
Councilor Iden?
Yay.
Councilor Noseworthy?
Yay.
Councilor Romero?
Yay.
Councilor Shalhoub Zephyr?
Yay.
Councilor Robin?
Yay.
Councilor Bonanza?
Yay.
And that will be recorded as yay. The order is adopted by a vote of 9-0. C-52.
C-52, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requests an appropriation of $420 to the Veterans Expense Account, same to be transferred from excess and deficiency. Apparently, the vendor that was responsible for supplying our porta potties on our Memorial Day weekend sent their bill in tardy, and the Veterans Services Director was asking for some assistance to get this paid. Again, the Finance Subcommittee met and voted unanimously to recommend the grant of C-52 to take care of this messy little piece of business.
That was very clever.
Well, it's messy in two ways.
Yeah, you've heard the recommendation. Are there any questions or comments? We hope not. All those in favor signify in the usual manner. Those opposed? Ayes have it by a vote of 9-0. Does the chairman have an order?
Order the sum of $420 to be appropriated to the Veterans Expense Account, same amount to be transferred from the excess and deficiency account. Move for the adoption of the order.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation. Any questions or comments? If not, this is a roll call vote. Councilor Cormier?
Yay.
Councilor Pauline Cormier?
Yay.
Councilor Iden?
Yay.
Councilor Noseworthy?
Yay.
Councilor Romero?
Yay.
Councilor Shalhoub Zephyr?
Yay.
Councilor Robbins?
Yay.
Councilor Bonanza?
Yay.
And that will be recorded as yay. The order is adopted by a vote of 9-0. 36-26.
36-26, Gregory C. Chapdelaine, Purchasing Agent. Request to allow the purchasing agent to award a contract for school busing services for a 5-year period. The current contract will expire at the end of the school year, June 30th, 2026. And in anticipation of this expiration, I am in the process of preparing an invitation to bid to secure transportation services for the next 5 years. Said services to begin on July 1st of 2026. As we all know, the law, Chapter 30B, Section 12B, state statute, prohibits the purchasing agent without our authority to enter into a contract for more than 3 years. It's been our purchasing agent's practice and desire to enter into 5-year agreements in many cases because of reduced administrative cost and better pricing terms. And he's asking us once again for the authority to do that. The Finance Subcommittee met on March 4th and voted unanimously by a vote of 3-0 to recommend the granting of 36-26.
Okay, per the chairman's recommendation, are there any questions or comments? If not, all those in favor signify in the usual manner. Those opposed? 36-26 is approved by a vote of 9-0. Chairman, have an order.
I don't
There's
think
no order
there's
for
no
this,
order right now.
Okay, thank you. And thank you to your committee for meeting. Subcommittee makes it a lot easier when we
Thank you,
get to
yes.
this point, the discussion takes place, and
We had a very efficient 12-minute meeting, so.
thanks,
Madam
thank
President,
you,
if you wouldn't
thank
mind
you to the
passing those
committee
down.
as well for.
Thank you,
for all
Madam
that.
President.
Okay, Public Service Committee, no, Ways and Means, sorry,
Madam President, I'm going to be abstaining from this matter.
okay,
And I will be as well.
okay.
33-26, Ginny's Helping Hand Incorporated, request to renew a license to deal with secondhand articles at 52 Mechanic Street, Leominster. We did have a subcommittee on this briefly last Thursday night, and this petition is going to be given leave to withdraw without prejudice because 41-26, which is on here for the first time, is going to replace it. So that would be the recommendation of the Ways and Means Committee is to give 33-26 leave to withdraw without prejudice.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation of the chairman. Are there any questions or comments? If not, all those in favor of leave to withdraw signify in the usual manner. Those opposed? 33-27 has been given leave to withdraw by a vote of 7-0. Moving on to Legal Affairs, 37-26.
Thank you, Madam President. Carrie Noseworthy, Ward 5 Councilor, requests the City Council adopt the following policy and establish a Human Rights Commission for the City of Leominster.
Yeah, this is also was referred to Ways and Means, but the agenda never got updated, so it was a joint
That's right, it is.
petition.
Okay.
We had, I'll do our report first from Legal Affairs. We did have a subcommittee meeting on this last week, and it was agreed, and the recommendation was going to be to give this 37-26 further time. And I will check with the chairman of Ways and Means.
That was our recommendation as well. I did ask for a legal opinion I asked for an opinion from the mayor. I did not get that yet. If it was sent today, it might be in the city clerk's email, if she wasn't in today. I did call checking for it, but the girls in there weren't aware of it, so we'll give this further time and ask that we get the mayor's opinion on this as well.
Okay.
We did get a legal opinion on it, but we can read that into the record later, so.
All right. So you want it, all right, let's vote on, you made your recommendation of,
For further time.
Further time, yes.
Okay, are there any questions or comments regarding further time on 37-26? Councilor Bonanza.
Yeah, I don't have a difficulty with supporting further time, but I do want to state that I did have a discussion with the mayor directly, and my question to the mayor was, would he appropriate money for a professional to guide this particular organization? Should we create one? And unequivocally, the answer was no. And I'd be, just being upfront, I'd be remiss. This organization could potentially make some pretty weighty decisions that have litigation at their base. I also took the time to research what happens to your municipal insurance rates if you have a Human Rights Commission without professional guidance, and the underwriters treat that as a additional cost and expense associated with your insurance. So just want to put that out there.
If I may, Madam President, thank you very much to the Ward 4 Council of Finance Chair having that discussion. I did formally send an email to the mayor. I think I CC'd you, Madam President, as well, on Friday after we got a subcommittee meeting. That was a question I had as well. Was funding for a position for somebody who's a professional in this subject matter, to see if he would be funding that. So I guess we got our answer, but I asked him to formally make that part of his opinion or recommendation to us. So thank you very much for checking into that too. Thanks.
Councilor Nosworthy?
Thank you, Madam President. I actually also reached out to Brian Riley just to get some clarification on some of the comments he made to us all in his email. And I can make a copy of this and provide it to everybody. I just wanted to read a brief piece here, which I think is relevant to the topic at hand. He states, looking at your petition, it does
Excuse me just a minute, are you reading the whole petition?
No.
I mean, the whole answer?
No.
But I think it's important to read the whole thing.
Oh, sure, absolutely, Madam President, I can absolutely do that. I would raise one specific issue, but I don't think that what you propose is in conflict with it. We represent many towns, and the one thing that is different with towns is that they adopt a bylaw. It does not take effect until it is submitted to the Attorney General's Municipal Law Unit, and that office finds it, until that office finds it does not conflict with state law. This does not apply to cities, and enacted ordinances can take effect immediately. In a 2022 decision involving a new Human Rights Commission for the town of South Hadley, the MLU highlighted a bylaw section stating that the commission shall adopt, quote, rules and regulations for carrying out its mission, including, quote, investigations and hearings. The MLU stated that the bylaw itself did not discuss a right to, quote, conduct investigations, hold hearings, or adjudicate complaints, end quote. The MLU also pointed out that the bylaw itself did state that the HRC would not, quote, adjudicate or facilitate resolution of disputes between individuals, end quote. Looking at your petition, it does reference that the Human Rights Commission as investigating reports of unlawful discrimination, but it also states that the information gathered would be passed along to other entities or agencies that have authority to take action. This might include the Massachusetts Commission Against Discrimination, Police Department, the District Attorney's Office, or the like. This is the approach I would recommend as an attempt to have any kind of mediation or formal dispute resolution procedure would be much more complicated and potentially appear to be ruling on another's legal rights. As written, however, I do not see a risk of that. So that was just the section I wanted to read. The other parts aren't related to that. I would like to state, since this was brought up, that as a petitioner who has dedicated endless hours to this petition, I would greatly appreciate a meeting with the mayor's office on this topic. I think I've earned that right with all the work I've put into it, and I think it's respectful to have a direct conversation with me regarding this matter. Thank you very much.
What I am going to suggest to Attorney Riley, in asking for a legal opinion, we need to go through the clerk's office, and so that we see what's being requested, because 9 of us could be requesting the same thing.
Sure.
And so we need to have some kind of a, it's not a criticism of you, I know you know, but we need to do that and be able to get through so that we all know, the clerk knows what everything is being asked for.
Thank you so much, Madam President. I do just want to say, this just came today, and I believe that the clerk was out today, so I didn't know who else to kind of get it to, but I'm happy to.
Even the request, so that we know what request, so that
Oh,
if
sure,
I
sure.
was gonna ask the same thing,
Understood.
I wouldn't be contacting him, and then we'd be crossing wires, so.
Sure.
Just so we keep some kind of an order on how we do that.
Absolutely, so I will send it tomorrow morning to the clerk so she can forward this email to the body. Thank you.
Councilor Romero.
May I also ask a question as well, just a clarifying point, President Frida? I would just like to know, since the mayor has already indicated that he will not be allocating any money for a professional to help facilitate the process of forming a Human Rights Commission here in the city, would he be amenable, or would the council be amenable? We have many individuals who are professionals who work actually in our community. They work at the colleges. They work, doing this work. They are They are consultants, they have experience actually either forming human rights commissions or doing a lot of work around human rights commission. So if, essentially in the process of trying to form this commission, if we're able to find folks that are willing to volunteer their time without compensation, is that something that we might be able to pursue?
Well, I think that's what the discussion on the further time is, so that all that discussion can happen.
Okay.
We have, Councilor Bedanza did have a conversation, but Councilor Cormier did request it in writing, so when we actually see what his thought process is, then we can move forward. But I think the Legal Affairs Chair and the Ways and Means Chair together, will be able to put some things together, and whether bringing in members of the community or whatever the end discussion is at that point, then, this was just presented, so it's got a long way to go, like anything. It's, when petitions are presented, very often, they're important and they're going to affect the entire community. So there needs to be time taken to do them all right and get everybody's opinion, so. Let me just go to Council Action.
As you indicated, this is going to be a topic that a lot of people are going to have an opinion on, and I'm not sure what the process should be, but I really believe that we need the public's input at a council meeting so we can get both pros and cons before we make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Councilor Cormier.
Thank you very much. I was just gonna make a point, to the Ward 1 councilor. I don't think, it's not about getting professional help to establish the commission. It's a full-time position that would need to be funded long-term for a person to be here, to be on site, like a commissioner of disabilities that would basically, when there's a commission meeting and the commissioners are present and issues come up, you have that expert there to give them guidance on that issue. That'd be a full-time position. Some communities, I believe, have that. So that's what I was kind of, wondering about if he would be funding that. So.
Councilor Schultz was up.
Thank you very much. I think talking about a paid position and what that person's going to do is a little bit putting the cart before the horse. There's a lot of conversation to be had about how it would be set up, what would be its purview. The Ward 5 councilor has put in a lot of time and has, drafted a pretty comprehensive and, well thought out petition. However, when we meet with the public and when we hash through each of those elements, we will certainly hopefully craft something that works for the city of Leominster and our public. So whether or not there is a full-time paid position, I don't think a lot of communities actually have that. If we had extra, boatloads of money and wanted to pay a stipend to somebody for their professional expertise and experience as being the chair, that's one thing. We have a planning board chair that, or previously had a planning board chair that was, that serves in a professional capacity. We have a ZBA chairperson. We have, a variety of people that chair various boards and commissions. So I think once we iron out all of the we, meaning the collective we, in addressing Councilor Noseworthy's petition, and really fine-tune the language and what would be the best way to implement a Human Rights Commission in Leominster, then I think we'll have a really good idea, as to whether or not what kind of specific professional expertise we need. And as we heard this evening, Ms. Lawton Stickler has got a lot of, she teaches at the university. She has a very, I think, impressive background, both in terms of education and experience in this particular realm. So, if somebody like her, I'm not saying that she would, but there are a lot of really smart people with very diverse experiences across the city. And I would think that this would attract, a lot of those folks that have relevant experience. So I don't want to jump to the conclusion that, oh, we can't do this because we can't hire a full-time paid person for the city. I think that's really getting way ahead of ourselves. So I look forward to the voting and supporting further time, because I think that this is a long time coming. I think the city needs it. I think we are a very diverse community, and I think that we need, for all of the reasons that the two people here this evening spoke so eloquently about, I think that we really should consider this seriously and implement it. Thank you.
I think, and maybe he's gonna address it, but I do think the question of insurance needs to be addressed. If that, it may not be an issue, but I think it's an important question.
Yep.
Councilor Bonanza.
Okay, so I had a couple of points. With respect to the question that the Ward 1 councilor raised, even if we find somebody who's willing to volunteer time, either in the setup of this organization or its conduct of affairs, we are buying that person's, buying in the sense we're adopting their advice. That's a liability issue. So once that person starts giving us advice and we use that advice in some capacity, we've created a liability for ourselves. And that's even worse than not having somebody in our employ, because we have very little control. Now, the way this petition's set up, it talks about offering a process for a group with a perceived rights grievance. It talks about investigating reports. It talks about making recommendations. These are all potential litigation issues. So without professional guidance under our umbrella, we're asking for trouble, in my humble opinion. If we're going to have just a society that does programming, tells people what they might not otherwise understand to be a violation, in other words, an educational process, why do you need us? Why do you need the city council? Why do you need the city at all? We got programming right now. We could set up programs that the Ward 5 council is interested, set up programs at the library. There's no reason we can't do that. I mean, there's lots of things we could do without a Human Rights Commission right now. But this is what we got held up the last time, right? The mayor sent down a petition with nothing, okay? We started asking questions. Is there gonna be investigatory power? Who appoints? Who confirms? All of that. The issue is, are we going to allow people to investigate other people's rights? Are those people going to be professional, or are they going to have professional guidance? That's where the rubber meets the road on this. Otherwise, we're talking about, we're just talking about a society to educate people. I mean, I don't know if that's what people want. Is that enough?
Can I just ask a clarifying question then, of the Ward 4 councilor here? So
through the chair.
Through the chair, I'm sorry. Yes,
okay.
Through the chair. And I guess it's just a general question. We have a disability commission, and the disability commission, again, what is the purpose of that? We have disabled individuals within the community, right? And the disability commission works within our community to help these folks feel inclusive, potentially if there's issues around sidewalk accessibility, they're able to help advocate for these folks. So, those individuals also have the right to sue if they feel discriminated against. And yet we still have a commission here in the city that basically says, we welcome you, we value you, we respect you, and we include you, and we want you to feel a part of our community. And so that, I think, would also extend to the Human Rights Commission. In the subcommittee meeting, the same issues that you discussed and what you brought up in terms of, investigating, a place for grievances. I think, with all due respect, we do need more input from the community. I appreciate the folks who are showing up, but the people who do maybe perhaps feel discriminated against, and folks who may, really want to feel more connected to our community, they're not speaking. They're not here. They haven't been invited to speak. So we need to ensure that all voices are heard and that this commission is reflective of our community, not just the few voices that feel they represent the larger community. That's number one. Number two, that particular piece around grievances and so on and so forth, I don't envision a Human Rights Commission because from my understanding from all of the individuals that I've spoken with, that is not the intent, that is not the purpose of a Human Rights Commission, to be a place that investigates and then issues decisions and then pursues some type of action on behalf of the individual. But again, this is all going to take time. We're gonna have to investigate, there's gonna have to be conversations inclusive of the community, particularly the people, again, who to benefit most from a Human Rights Commission.
I don't know what your question was, but,
It's a statement, it wasn't a question.
well, you directed it to me.
Well, then I clarified and said to the council at large, but I'll clarify now, it's not a question, it's a statement.
So if I could respond, Madam President?
You can.
I just don't believe that the public at large would think, especially reading this petition, that if they had a grievance, that there wouldn't be a process to remedy it as part of this commission. That's where the difficulty lies, in my humble opinion.
Right.
Now, again, let's see where it goes.
Right.
I'm willing to give it further time. I'm willing to flesh that out. And, we know there's an organization, very user-friendly organization, not far down the road in Worcester, MCAD, that handles these things all the time. You don't need an attorney to go there. So I'm going to be very careful, especially when I read this petition and it talks about investigations and grievances and recommendations to various city bodies. So we'll see what happens.
Council Inger was next,
Yeah.
and then Council Nosworthy.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I wish that I had Attorney Riley's answer information before this meeting tonight, because it raises a lot of the questions that the Ward 4 councilor is raising. And I'll be honest with you, if I was called before this Human Rights Commission for a supposed grievance, I would tell them to pack sand, to be honest with you, because what are they going to do? They have no legal jurisdiction to do anything to me for making a comment or something like that. But I think till we get some clear information and define exactly what this commission is all about, get some very important feedback from both sides of the public, not just one side, and understand the legal ramifications of what we're doing. This is, for my opinion, is dead until we get more information. Just, I'm on the fence, really am. So, just a comment.
Council Nosworthy.
I'll be very brief, thank you, Madam President. I think that this email that, like I said, I just received today, and the clerk wasn't in, so I'm happy to send it to her tomorrow so she can share it with everyone.
Just for the record, that at least should have gone to the two chairs of the committee, once you got it, because we were gonna be discussing it tonight, so that the two chairs at least should have had that email.
Okay, I thought we were just giving it further time. I didn't know we were gonna have a full-on discussion.
But they're still making a recommendation, and they had a subcommittee meeting, so now you have new information that wasn't discussed at the subcommittee meeting. So, it would have been important for at least the two chairs.
Madam President, on that note, the recommendation is for further time.
Yeah.
Rather than getting into reading more information that the rest of the council isn't privy to and getting into further argument, we've all agreed that this needs further time. So I would move
The question.
the question.
Okay.
I'll second that.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, we have a motion to move the question. All those in favor? Okay. So, Mr. Chairman, Ways and Means first, let's go to you.
Further time on 37-26.
Okay, all those in favor of further time signify in the usual manner. Those opposed? Okay. Madam Vice President, Legal Affairs.
Thank you, Madam President. Further time, please.
Okay, the recommendation of Legal Affairs is further time. Any questions or comments? If not, all those in favor signify in the usual manner. Those opposed? Okay. Thank you both.
Madam President, you ready for me to move on to?
I certainly am.
Thank you. 30-26, Brandon Robbins and Susan Shalafo Zephyrs, councilors at large, request that the mayor authorize the appropriate department or departments to research, develop, and participate in a contract or contracts to aggregate the electricity load of the residents and businesses in the city and for other related services independently or in joint action with other municipalities, and authorize the mayor to execute all documents necessary to accomplish the same. We had a subcommittee meeting on this last week, and it was the unanimous recommendation of Legal Affairs to give this petition leave to withdraw. And I'm going to refer you to the chairman of Ways and Means.
And the Ways and Means Committee also felt the same. It was unanimous to give this leave to withdraw.
Okay, let's go with Legal Affairs first. You have a recommendation, leave to withdraw. Any questions or comments? Councilor Bonanza.
Yeah, I did have a chance to watch the subcommittee meeting, and I just want to indicate that there was a question that arose during the course of it as to whether this comes back to the city council if there was an affirmative vote, and I can tell you that it doesn't. Once the city council votes, that's the end of it. It goes to the mayor's office, and the mayor would presumably at some point put out an RFP. There's no requirement that the city adopt the plan at that point, but it's not city council jurisdiction any longer. What I did was I had an opportunity to read something put out, a 45-page best practices guide put out by the Massachusetts Department of Energy Resources. And very good, anybody interested in this topic, I highly recommend they read it. Talks about the pluses and minuses of aggregation. Some of the things that need to be sort of fleshed out really at the beginning of this process is the city going to employ an energy manager in-house? Is the city going to employ a consultant to adopt the aggregation plan? What is the city going to do with regard to RECs or renewable energy credits, which of course increase the cost? All of these things increase the cost. And there are plans potentially out there where the basic service is exceeded by the aggregation cost because a particular community used a certain model. And if you read from this document, it clearly indicates aggregations cannot guarantee that customers will save money in comparison to basic service. Even if an aggregation rate is below basic service at a given time, basic service rates change every 6 months to the savings account cannot be guaranteed so savings cannot be guaranteed for the future. Aggregation requires administrative effort for the municipality, especially to launch, but also on an ongoing basis. Even if using a consultant to assist with the aggregation process, municipal staff will need to allocate resources to launch and maintain an aggregation. Some aggregations use administrative fees to pay for aggregation consultants that are paid by participating residents and businesses on an ongoing basis, which is an added cost. So if this were to come back, I would want to see it come back before sort of with a better understanding of what in fact the costs were going to be associated with launching it, initiating it, and going out to bid. I think I watched Mr. Hosting from Marlboro. I thought he did a fantastic job. I thought it was pretty fair. He indicated there is no sort of right answer to this. It does require a lot of study. So I applaud the petitioners for putting it before us, but I think this would in the long run need, in my estimation, a lot of work before I would be ready to vote on it. In addition to that, the one particular year that was problematic for municipal aggregation was 2022, and we all remember what happened. Seems like it's 3 years ago, but that's when Ukraine was invaded. So what's going on in the international picture right now might not suggest that an aggregation plan is best suited for the moment, let's say. But anyway, those are my thoughts on it. Like I said, I'd recommend this guide to anybody because it is a fascinating topic. It's a pretty big topic, but I think before I would be in a position to, in good conscience, vote on this, I'd want to see some more work done before we give it away to the administration.
Can you, is that long?
I can provide a copy of it. It's 45 pages. I could scan it in and send it to the clerk, and she can make it available to everybody.
That was going to be my suggestion. Thank you.
Not a problem.
Okay. Councilor Robbins.
Thank you, Madam President. I appreciate the Ward 4 councilor's remarks. And I'll just say that I am still supportive of this process because I think, as I indicated during the subcommittee meeting last week, that I really see this as an option for residents. Councilor Ossing speakers tonight, the Ward 4 councilor, we've all agreed that we can't necessarily always say this will save money, but it's an option, and oftentimes saves cities lots of money. I just want to follow up on one thing from the subcommittee meeting. There was a lot of discussion around a contract that was before the city council back in 2023. I had asked the clerk and the mayor's office for a copy of that. To me, it sounded like it was being said that in that contract, we had already seen what rates were gonna look like. That contract was just to hire the consultant. So the city council will never get to see the rates, whether it's to this petition or another petition that comes before us. That's negotiated by the mayor and the team that he puts together from the purchasing department or wherever. So it's not like we will ever get to really decide on the rates that are coming for this before this city. What we can decide on is A, if we do municipal aggregation, and B, which one of those three companies that does municipal aggregation in Massachusetts we use. So I just wanted to clear that up, because to me at least, it sounded like it sounded like the rates would come back to us, and that's just not gonna ever be the case.
Okay, Councilor Shalfo-Zephyr.
Yep, thank you very much. You know, as the other petitioner on this, I certainly do still support the concept. I support the petition. And there was a lot of confusion about that. The process for this is really no different than any other contract. Tonight we all voted on, the 6-year contract that Mr. Chapdelaine sent down for school busing. So we don't know what rates he's negotiated for school busing. We're not going to ever know what those rates are, because that's not our job. We give him the authority and we approve his ability to go out and negotiate a 6-year contract for school busing. And we put our faith in him and the comptroller and the mayor to negotiate the best possible, school busing rates that they can do, because that's their obligation to the people that hire them, the taxpayers in the city that vote for them. So this is no different. All this is doing is saying, based on my reading of all of the material that I have read, that it is an opportunity for people in Leominster to save a little bit of money on their utility bills. And it has been, there is no guarantee, absolutely, the council from Marlborough certainly made that very clear. However, it's 250 plus communities that have had this in place. Marlborough's had it with the first community ever, and we saw all of the savings that they've had over the years. So, we're in the smaller group of 8 to 10 or 50 or however many communities our size are not in or offering municipal aggregation to our community. I mean, are we smarter than everybody else? I mean, I really don't think so. I think this is a proven opportunity for us to offer our constituents the possibility of saving some money on their utilities. They can opt out a lot easier than they can opt out of any other third-party program. We take the guesswork out of, are they dealing with a predatory third-party, organization offering better utility rates? So anyways, there are a multitude of reasons why I support this, and I think it's a really good idea, and I would like to be able to offer that to people in the city of Leominster. I understand that people have questions, but again, this is like any other contract that comes before us. We don't negotiate the rates, we don't negotiate the cost. We don't do that. We make it available. We provide approval, for the mayor to do his job, for the purchasing agent to do his job, and for the comptroller to do her job, and everybody else in the city. So I remain committed to providing more information on municipal aggregation, and I understand that people have some questions, and I'll go along with you to withdraw this evening. But I think we're really missing the boat. I think we're missing an opportunity here, and that's what I'm at.
Councilor Andrew.
My biggest issue on this is that, and Mr. O'Rourke mentioned this, is that we're mandated to go into this contract. Once we go into it, and I, as I've mentioned before, have always shopped, utility rates, and found out that there are several good companies out there that consistently beat. And I have no way of comparing that against this new company if they come on board. They can change their rate anytime they want to, that I can see,
No,
No?
it's for the term of the contract. Whatever rate.
Let's go through
No,
the chair
no,
without
okay,
having a
okay.
debate.
Yep.
Just, it just seems like, that once we're locked into this, as a consumer, we have very little control. We can opt out,
Mhm.
okay? But for myself, I use a company, and if I don't opt out before you do this, I'm gonna have to pay a penalty.
No.
Yes, I do. That's just in my contract.
When he's finished, then we'll go to you. and you
It's
can-
in my contract that, if I terminate early, I pay a penalty. Now, I've looked at contracts coming up, and a lot of the companies have waived that penalty. But it just,
Through the
there
chair.
are too many things that I don't feel comfortable with. So,
Yeah, through the chair.
Councilor Shalfo Zephyr.
Right, through the chair to the councilor at large. Mr. Ossing from Marlborough made the point that anybody who is now enrolled in a third-party provider, you stay with your third-party provider. The only people that are swept in to the new municipal aggregation program are people that are with National Grid. So if you have already selected another third-party provider, you stay with them. You don't get brought into it at all. So you would stay with your contract, with your third-party provider, for as long as your contract lasts. So it's only people that have National Grid that would be swept, they call it sweeping into this, the municipal aggregation program. So there wouldn't be, anybody that's already selected a plan would stay with that plan and with that contract.
okay, that wasn't brought up, I apologize.
No, he made it really clear the other night because it was a very important point and somebody asked that.
Yeah.
Somebody specifically asked that question. So I think that's very important. That's a really good point, Frank.
Through the chair, I was, out of town, so I couldn't
Oh,
attend
yeah.
that meeting, okay, and
Yeah.
I didn't have a
Yeah.
chance to view it.
Yeah.
But that is one question
Yeah.
that I would like to have answered, but you did a
Somebody-
great job, so thank you
I
very
think
much.
someone asked that question.
I have 2 points of clarification, Madam Chair.
Let me just go to Councilor Nosworthy was next.
I'll just keep it very brief. Thank you, Madam President. I won't reiterate what's already been said. I'll certainly be in support in withdrawing without prejudice. I just also want to voice my support for municipal aggregation. I do think that, look, it's difficult. It's not fun paying our, electric bills, our gas bills. It gets complicated. I look at it as just providing an option for residents, They always ask us when their taxes are going to go lower. The answer is never, and we're looking for other ways to kind of offset their daily life. So to me, I think this is an easy one because they can opt out. I would say opting out is much easier than taking the time to research third parties. Providers, I mean, that's just my kind of interpretation on that, but I will be supportive of leave to withdraw, but I just wanted to share that. Thank you.
Councilor Danza.
Yeah, I just wanted to be fair to the process and to answer the councilor at large's position regarding having to do something once we vote. The mayor is not required to accept the bid. They're not required to enter the aggregation plan, just be clear. So even if we do vote for aggregation, that's not a guarantee there's going to be municipal aggregation. So there's usually an RFP process, request for proposals, which is a type of bid that is not solely determinative on price that goes out, but the mayor would not be required to sign a contract as a result. The opt-out period is without penalty for 180 days. You'll see that in this guide. The other thing I can tell you for sure, from having discussed this with hundreds of people this summer, is the average citizen out there has no idea what we're talking about. None. Zero. So if we're going to do this and we're going to be fair to people and transparent, we're going to have to do a heck of a job at educating the public what's going on. Because I won't vote for anything that the public doesn't understand.
Yeah. Through the chair, I certainly appreciate your.
Let me go to Councilor Robbins. I think that you.
Yeah.
You want that?
Yeah. No, I've got
okay.
well, now 2 quick things I want to throw onto the table. The first thing is, I just want to throw it out there. I understand this is getting leave to withdraw tonight, but I do think that we seriously need to have real conversations about this, because with 200 and something 245 municipalities across the state enrolled in this program. At some point, and nobody's gonna like to hear this, but I will not be shocked if the state says, you gotta do this. And I'm worried that our choice of how we get involved is gonna be out the door. Secondly, I completely agree with the Ward 4 councilor about the education piece and getting people involved in the conversation. I think that part is important now, but I also think that part is really important when we're talking about the actual rate and the actual savings that they'll see on their electric bill, because that's when we're actually going to have a real decision of should we do this or should we not do this. Thank you.
Councilor Ininger, I think, was next, and then.
Through the chair.
And then we're gonna wrap it up because we're giving it leave to withdraw.
Draw, yeah, so maybe motion, what do you say?
Move the question.
Move the question, okay.
I'll second that.
Move the
All right,
question.
we have a motion to move the question. We have a second. All those in favor? Those opposed? Okay, 2 opposed. All right, the question is moved. Now we'll go back to, we did Ways and Means, right?
Yep,
So long ago.
we did both, leave to withdraw as a recommendation.
Oh, I thought we did them both at the same time, that's fine.
Oh, you did them
Our-
both.
At this
Yeah, our
point-
unanimous
At this point, we
recommendation
move
would
the
be.
question for
Okay.
a vote,
All right.
for leave to withdraw.
Correct.
All right, so we have a motion, leave to withdraw without prejudice. Do we have a second? All those in favor signify in the usual manner. Those opposed? Vote is 7-2.
And Madam President, 27-26, I will need to abstain from because it's partially owned by my employer.
Okay, 27-26, the Chair of Public Service.
Thank you, Madam President. Would you like me to read the petition or
Do we have a
waive?
motion?
Motion to waive the reading.
Second.
I was hoping for that. We did have a subcommittee meeting earlier this evening, and we came up with a unanimous decision to recommend that this petition be tabled, balancing the needs of, safety in the petition and the amount of time that's been invested already to this point. So it would be my recommendation that we table petition 2726 until we have some new information. And I ask you, check. Well, no, I don't have to say that right. Okay, unanimous.
Okay, yeah, we don't do that anymore.
Yes.
We do subcommittees.
All right.
We have a motion, and do we have a second? Okay, we have a motion.
I'll second that.
Motion is, I think that was Councilor Shelf, was that what
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, but I think it's her. Motion and a second. Any questions or comments? All those in favor, please signify by the usual manner. 27-26 is given for table for study by a vote of 8-1. New business.
Oh, wait, the,
8-0.
at the 8-0, I was abstained.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I knew that. Okay, is there any, yes, there is new business. And that is with legal affairs. So-
Thank you, Madam President. This is 30-26. This is scheduled this evening to be the first reading of an ordinance.
It's 3-. 3-.
Sorry, 3-36, Glenn Eaton, Executive Director.
26. 26.
Let's start over. To the Chair of Legal Affairs, 3-26 is referred to you.
Thank you, Madam President.
You're welcome.
Glenn Eaton, Executive Director, Montechusett Regional Planning Commission, requests to amend the zoning ordinance to replace Article 14, accessory apartments, with a new Article 15. I'm getting it all wrong. That complies with recently passed state law and make other changes to implement the new ordinance. We did receive a copy of the ordinance. It was supposed to be on this evening for a first reading. However, Counselor Shalfo Zephyr and myself have both gone over it, and there is some discrepancies in what our notes have and what we had agreed on and how it comes in as an ordinance. So I'm gonna ask that we give this further time so that we can make those changes and get them off to KP Law.
Okay, we have the recommendation for further. The only question I would have is this was originally August 11th. We in danger of a constructive permit? That would be my only question here. No? That's because it's from the time of the planning board. Right, okay. All right, and just for us, those who aren't familiar with a constructive permit, doesn't happen very often, but if things are pushed out and we don't deal with an ordinance in a certain period of time, they automatically is granted to them without our vote. So we need to always be careful of the time frame that we're in, so.
It does have to be sought too by the petitioner. In this particular case,
They're pretty much on, well,
They're not
probably
gonna
not on
seek
this
that as
one,
a
right,
right,
but we don't wanna leave that to chance
Right.
though, because everybody has an attorney,
right,
as you must know.
I do.
All right, so the recommendation for 3-26 is for further time.
It is. Yes, Madam President.
Do we have a second on that?
That's something.
Okay, any other further questions or comments? If not, all those in favor for first reading, oh no, it's further time, so all those in favor signify in the usual manner. Those opposed? By a vote of 9-0. The time is granted for 3-26. Okay, do we have any other new business to come before us? Do we have any old business to come before us? If not, real quickly, I just wanted to talk about the microphones after the last meeting that was so atrocious with the sound, and I know we all got as many phone calls as we could get and emails regarding the lack of understanding by the public. I spent the next complete day in City Hall. I went from the mayor's office to talking with FATV, LTV, Greg Chapdelaine, Joe Poirier, Jen Reddington to make sure we had money in the table account. The mayor's office, I wanted to be sure we could line all that up. And then I spoke with Alan Redstone of Wavelength Studios, who I knew was familiar with this and, you know, is an incredible sound gentleman that I've known for a long time. And he graciously met with Joe Poirier, came through here. I was also concerned with $25,000 without knowing what we were looking at. And I know that so far the estimates is just under $6,000. There was wiring that Joe Poirier noticed was crossed with the box and the switch of the light, and he's fixing that. So that was part of the process. Whoever did the electrical work when the basement was flooded, you know, had some, obviously, some differences in the way Joe Poirier would do it. So Joe is looking at the wiring. Alan Redstone has ordered pieces. Fortunately, it worked out tonight for you. They did supply handheld. So just so people know why you were at handheld and none of us did. So I believe we've got a couple of new microphones that are being ordered. Whatever Alan has decided with Jen Reddington and moving forward and getting us back to normal. I think somebody that was listening to the subcommittee meeting thought it was crystal clear and said it was really, really good. The last one, where they had just worked on it that day.
Yeah.
So just that much of an update. And just want to mention real quickly, St. Bernard's is going to the Garden for hockey. I know we're in Leominster and St. Bernard's is Fitchburg, but the goalie that is outstanding is a Leominster resident. And his family is very proud of him, and Chase Bergeron has done an incredible job. So just want to wish Snowburn as well, and they're for a school of 200 people to get to the garden is pretty commendable. So just,
I also, would you mind, Council, I just also want to wish Tyler McKenzie luck in his bid, Paralympics. He's competing, he's a Leominster native, and he sustained an injury through a biking accident, and he is now, again, he's 34, family's still from Leominster, they still live here, and he's competing the Paralympics. Some pretty cool stuff, so want to wish him well.
maybe that's something that the Disability Commission can look at the next time for someone with a disability from Leominster that can get to the Olympics is pretty outstanding as well. Okay, any other, Councilor Nolan?
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to say this Saturday, March 14th from 10 to 11:30, I'm going to be having my quarterly in-person meeting at the library in the Friends Room, just community building and a time for anybody who lives or works in Ward 5 to get together. So I just wanted to remind people of that. Thank you very much.
All right, welcome. Okay, any other business? All right, who's going to jump?
Me.
Yep. Everybody's going to fight for the motion to adjourn?
I did.
Okay, you did. Councilor Shalfo was Zephyr, and Councilor Cormier is second. All those in favor of adjourning? Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.